Live from WATN in high definition, this is a Local 24 breaking news alert.
The month-long battle to have two Confederate statues removed from Memphis public parks is about to be over. Hello and thanks for watching Local 24 News at 10. I'm Katina Rankin. Memphis City Council today voted to immediately remove the statues of Confederate General Nathan Bedford Forrest and Confederate President Jefferson Davis from parks in Memphis. And Local 24's Dave Detlin is live in the medical district tonight with reaction to this historic vote. Hi, Dave.
Good evening, Katina. We want to reiterate that the statue being taken down behind us of Nathan Bedford Forrest, that is just the statue. A lot of people are questioning about the remains of Nathan Bedford Forrest as well as his wife. We have confirmed, Local 24 has confirmed that tonight's, what you're seeing behind us going down, does not deal with those remains. We are still figuring out and working to see what will happen with those remains. But we'll leave you with this live picture right here as the Nathan Bedford Forrest statue comes down in the medical district. Katina, we'll send it back to you.
Okay, Dave, before we go really quickly, is Tammy still around you?
Tammy is with her supporters right now. Did you want me to ask her another question?
I want you to
what did you have for us?
Over. I want you to bring her back in front of the camera, please, and ask her why it was so important for them to have these statues to come down. I want to hear that in her own words.
Tammy, I'm just getting word from Katina. Katina asked, in your own words, why is it so important to see these statues come down? If we can walk towards the camera, I apologize. Katina wants to know, in your own words, why is it so important to see these statues come down?
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of reasons. First and foremost, Memphis being a city that's majority African American, to have the two largest statues in the city honor slave owners and men who believed that black people were worthless and didn't deserve common decency and respect, to me, closes that chapter and brings us towards a place of further equality. But also, it's important because a lot of times people have written off activists in the city as troublemakers and loudmouths, and this shows that when we everyday average people use our voices and come together to fight for what we believe is right, we can make positive change happen. So don't ever undercount what happens when people get together. That's why it's called a movement, because it makes change, and this shows what movement work in Memphis does. And
I know you had said from the very beginning, race, very important in this?
Of course. I mean, these are white men who were slave owners who have published works writing very evil things about black people. Jefferson Davis, you know, himself believed that black people were unintelligent and needed to be owned because they would never be able to take care of themselves. Is that a man we want a statue to?
Tammy Sawyer, again, thank you so much. And we're going to get another shot of the statue right now, if we can zoom into that. Katina, we're sending it back to you.
And I know, Dave, you'll find this out for me. Now that they are coming down, my next question for Tammy is what's next? Did they just simply want them to come down? Or what do they expect to happen now that they are getting ready to come down? Again, let me tell you what's happening as we take a look at this live shot. Memphis City Council today, what they did was they voted unanimously to bring down these two statues, the statue of Nathan Bedford Forrest as well as Jefferson Davis. After that vote, people immediately went to where these statues were. The police department, they blocked off the area. And then you saw these cranes coming in. And the crane right now at this very statue. And as you can see, people are actually putting up hardware to help bring these statues down. They will come down tonight, we are told. And as you heard Local 24's Dave Detlin say, the graves that are underneath those statues will remain in place for now. What's happening right now is that these Confederate statues are getting ready to come down. Tammy Sawyer, an activist, telling Local 24 tonight, live on air, that she had given up, that these statues were going to come down, and that it was very important that they did because these statues were statues of men that were slave owners and that did not respect African Americans. The next question for me, for her, is what will they do next now that the statues are coming down, or is that simply all they wanted was for those statues to come down? We have Local 24's Mary Jo Ola. She is live on the scene as well. I believe that we have her by telephone, as well as we have Local 24's Rudy Williams on the scene to tell us what's happening. And Rudy, what can you tell us?
Hey, Katina, we are here at City Hall where we just finished talking with counsel to the city attorney, Bruce McMullen. Now, he went over exactly how all of this happened. We learned that there was a sale to green space that happened on this past Friday. And of course, as we've been reporting to you all evening, the vote by the city council to immediately remove the statues, as our viewers have been seeing all evening, was done at the city council meeting, unanimously this evening, with each one of the city council members on board for that to happen. Now, the nonprofit organization, the 501c3, as it's referred to in that ordinance, in that amendment, is green space, and they will take control of that property. That is a loophole that the city council and the city has found to ensure that the statues can come down. You just read a message from Lee Miller, who is a part of the Sons of the Confederacy, who still believes that this is illegal. However, the city, and talking with attorney Bruce McMullen right now, or just a moment ago, says that this is perfectly fine for them to do. So as you look at those pictures and you see the cranes that are over at Health Sciences Park removing the Nathan Bedford Forrest statue right now, it is under the operation of a sale that has happened. I asked Attorney McMullen if this sale is a final sale or if it's a long-term sale. He told me that this is a sale. A sale is a sale. So we don't know if the city will regain that property, if it will belong back to the city again, or if it will remain the property of the green space. He did also let us know that a spokesperson for green space should be available for comment, if not tonight, tomorrow morning, to give us more information about what's going on and what will happen. Another question that I asked Attorney McMullen as he was standing here talking with us outside of City Hall just a little while ago was about the bodies of General Nathan Bedford Forrest. He and his wife are buried there in Health Sciences Park. He said that those bodies will not be touched. Right now, it's just a statue, as you've been looking at on your screen this evening, that will be removed. Now, from here at City Hall, the park where Jefferson Davis is standing, the Fourth Bluff Park, is also receiving the same sort of attention with several police officers there. We can't see exactly from here what's happening, but we can see that Front Street, which runs right alongside on the east side of the park, has been blocked off down to City Hall. So we know that several cars are coming this way because they can't get down Front Street. That was a part of that text message that was sent out from the city earlier today, advising that there would be delays around those parks and around those areas where the statues would be coming down this evening. It was anticipated by us that there would be immediate action because the language in that ordinance said that there would be immediate removal of the Nathan Bedford Forrest and the Jefferson Davis statue and any other Confederate properties that were in the city of Memphis. It was the goal of Take 'em Down 901, hashtag Take 'em Down 901, to have those monuments and those statues removed before the observation of MLK 50, the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., the 50th year observation of his assassination here in the city. That's happening at this point in time, and you're watching it live right here on Local 24 News. Katina?
Rudy, did I hear correctly when Bruce McMullen, did he say that they sold each park for $1,000 apiece? Did I hear him say that?
I'm quite sure that's what he said, Katina. I was listening to several things at that point in time, but that $1,000 is what I think that I heard. There's a lot more happening here, but yes, you're right. It was $1,000 that those parks were sold for.
Okay, our Rudy Williams live there on the scene, still gathering information, and I'm sure you'll find out a lot more before we come back on the air at 10 o'clock. Listen, we have Local 24's Mary Jo Ola live on the telephone now. Mary Jo, tell us exactly where you are and what's happening.
Hey, Katina, we are in downtown Memphis by the Jefferson Davis statue. What we're seeing right now is sounds like a more relatively calmer scene compared to what's happening over the Nathan Bedford Forrest statue. We do have a very significant Memphis police presence here. We were here when they started showing up immediately after that vote came down at City Council. I've counted at least a dozen Memphis police cars surrounding this park where the statue's at. Police have also set up yellow tape surrounding the park, keeping people at a distance. I did try to talk to some officers on the scene. Of course, they were very tight-lipped when they all started arriving. Aside from the police presence here, there is a small group of people. There were about a dozen people or so a few moments ago. That has died down to maybe like half a dozen people kind of just keeping an eye on the spectacle that's become down here. A lot of people just interested to see what happens and when the statue is taken down. Also, since we've been here, a few of the city council members came by because they saw the blue lights flashing, so they were curious as to what was happening exactly and what they were on standby to do, the police were. But the city council members I talked with, it was Councilwoman Janice Fully Loved, Councilwoman Robinson, and Councilman Spinoza. They all said that this is long overdue, and it's a good night for Memphis following this vote to take down the Confederate statues, including this Jefferson Davis one here in downtown Memphis. But again, Katina, a relatively calm scene with Memphis police on standby outside the Jefferson Davis statue, but of course we're going to be following this closely through the night.
Mary Jo Ola live there for us on the telephone. We want to go back out to Local 24's Dave Detland because he's been standing by with Pastor Earl Fisher, a person that has been working religiously, I guess I should say, to take these statues down. Dave?
You're absolutely correct. And Earl said to me that if they start moving that statue, we're going to duck out of this interview. But Earl, thank you for joining us. Talk to me about what you're feeling right now, because I know you were inside Health Science Park before MPD closed it down.
Well, there's a feeling of accomplishment, and I think we have to make sure we give credit to Tammy Sawyer for her leadership and all of the activists and organizers connected with Take 'em Down 901. I mean, we've been battling this thing very aggressively for the past several months, and we know that this is part of a broader fight that people were engaged in, Walter Bailey and others over the years. So, of course, it's a sense of accomplishment that something that we've been fighting for that we actually wish would have been done a lot sooner is still being done. So I guess it's fair to say justice delayed is not necessarily justice denied.
Talk to me from a spiritual perspective, cultural perspective. What does it mean for you to see these statues come down tonight?
Well, we believe symbolically these were relics that represented some white supremacist gods, actually, where white supremacists drew their inspiration from these symbols. And so I actually believe it is a sign of spiritual liberation for the city, that these statues will no longer stand here. So earlier I was out here saying this is what theology looks like. There have been some clergy who have been actively involved in trying to make sure that our city more adequately represents the type of spirit that we believe it does. And so this is a step in that direction.
You're surrounded by a camaraderie, a spirit here. Take 'em down 901. Memphians who all want to see this come down. We've seen no protesters. But tonight it's all about the removal of the statues, just one step, not the remains right now.
Correct. I mean, I don't want to go into the particulars. One of the questions I asked the chairman when he was here is what's the difference between now and 3 months ago from a legal perspective. I don't know all of the details of what they worked out so that this can be removed as it is being removed now. But again, as you said, speaking to the spirit of so many people down here, different ethnicities, different socioeconomic statuses, different faith beliefs. Some Christian, some Islamic, some atheists probably, but we're all here today because we know justice looks like these statues being removed, and so I think it's true to the spirit of the city.
Earl Fisher, thank you so much for joining us.
I want to sort of give you some background about these statues. You have to journey back with me to 1904 because that's when the remains of Forrest and his wife Mary were actually moved to Health Sciences Park, and that was from Elmwood Cemetery. Then about a year later, the Nathan Bedford Forrest statue, that was unveiled by the Sons of Confederate Veterans, and we've heard from both Lee Miller and Doug Jones about that statue. And the statue of Jefferson Davis, it went up in 1964. The United Daughters of the Confederacy, they began raising money for the statue, and then they were later helped by the Sons of Confederate Veterans. Now, the Tennessee Heritage Protection Act, it prevents the city of Memphis from taking down the statues, and that's what you kept hearing Doug Jones say on our air, which is why he was saying he believed that the city of Memphis was doing something illegal by doing this tonight. But the city had already asked permission from the state once, and then they were denied. So an administrative law judge was scheduled to hear the city's case that it doesn't need Tennessee's Historical Commission approval to remove that statue, the Forrest statue, because its application to move the statue was filed before the legislature, tightened historical preservation laws. And what we are told is that the Sons of Confederates asked for more time, and then the judge granted that request, and that hearing had been moved to January 16th. So a lot of stuff unfolding. Let me just recap as you look at the statue, live pictures of this statue being in a harness and that could come down at any moment. When the city council meeting began today, every single city council person, what they did was vote unanimously to remove these statues, Nathan Bedford Forrest and Jefferson Davis. Immediately after they took that vote, the activists who had been on the front lines, meeting with them, asking them to take it down, they left the meeting and they went to this Health Sciences Park, the live picture where you're looking now, and they stood and they watched as Memphis police blocked off the area as they put up crime scene tape so that the cranes could come in and the people could begin the work to take these statues down. Over the course of the past 3 hours, we have seen people in utility buckets cutting down trees and branches and putting that harness that you see on that statue there. We have talked to numerous people that are for these statues coming down. You have heard them celebrate as they have seen the work that was taking place, and then you have heard from the other side saying why they believe it is illegal. Then you saw Memphis Mayor Jim Strickland tweet out photographs of him actually signing those two parks over to a nonprofit, which makes it an open space and not a park, and which the city believes takes any legal pressure off them from being sued from taking these parks down. You heard Myron Lowry say that the Commissioner Van Turner agreed and allowed them to take it down. So again, the parks were sold to a nonprofit group called Memphis Green Space Incorporated and declared open spaces, not parks. And according to state documents, Martin Reagan is the registered agent for the nonprofit group and a lawyer for Lewis Thompson. Okay, if you look at your screen now, that Nathan Bedford Forrest statue is being lifted up. Let's go to Local 24's Dave Detlin, because it appears right now history being made in the state of Tennessee, in Memphis, and that Nathan Bedford Forrest statue is being removed as we speak. Dave, talk us through what's happening.
You are seeing it live on television right now. Just moments ago, that statue was lifted off of the base of the Nathan Bedford Forrest statue, and it is hovering in place right now. It is being lifted as we speak, a few more inches now from that base. People in the crowd, they are chanting, "Hey, hey," and saying that this statue has got to go. And if you are watching live on television right now, you can see the Nathan Bedford Forrest statue has been lifted off of its base. Again, the remains of Nathan Bedford Forrest and his wife remain at the base of that monument right there, but the statue, the horse sculpture right there, is suspended up in the air. It is being lifted right now by that crane. It is in the harness. And I don't know if you can see this right now, but on the opposite side of where we are, there is an actual drone that is hovering in the air, capturing this from a different vantage point from what we can see here on the sidewalk. And you just heard a woman to my left. She is shouting right now. Unsure if she's excited, but I believe she might be. And just a lot of people are watching, and we actually have right now that flatbed truck that I talked about earlier. It is moving right now. It is getting in place so that, well, we assume that statue will be placed onto that flatbed and then removed from Health Sciences Park. So right now, again, you're watching on live television, as the statue is being lifted and lowered off of the monument base. Tammy Sawyer, you're watching this right now. What's going through your mind? I apologize, but everyone is shouting your name.
It's a collective effort. We all did it, and I mean, it's just amazing to watch this right now. Nathan Bedford Forrest rides no more in Memphis, Tennessee. It was a collective effort. We worked so hard. Today I think about my great-great-grandparents who were slaves in Tennessee. I think about all of the people of color who have fought for equality, the generations before us, Dr. Benjamin Hooks, Martin Luther King, Coretta Scott King, Fannie Lou Hamer. We continue to fight in their name, and it doesn't go without vain.
Stand by, Dave. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick pause. Do not go anywhere. We're going to start your regular newscast right now and continue with more breaking news.